Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Kim Sei-wan, professor of economics at Ewha Womans University. Professor Kim, good afternoon, and thank you for coming on.
Good afternoon, Devin.
Well, according to the Korea Economic Research Institute, Korea's economic dynamism has declined since the 2000s at the fastest rate in the OECD. And this, it says, is a key reason for the decline in Korea's potential growth rate. Tell us about this data and what stands out to you.
According to recent report of Korean Economic Research Institute, which is a think tank of Federation of Korean Industries, or big companies, Korean economy's dynamics is seriously weakening compared to other OECD member countries. Actually, they ranked Korean economy at 30th out of 33 countries. As a main reason for declining economic dynamics, they point out a worsening potential economic growth path, which indicates the full capacity production economic growth. Particularly, Korean economy becomes more dependent on one or two key industries like memory chips and automobiles, and other industries are becoming less competitive in global markets.
Well, turning to the markets, stocks in New York closed lower overnight, especially the tech stocks on the Nasdaq. Still, we are coming off a remarkable run in U.S. stocks on hopes for those vaccines. What's the story in the global markets?
U.S. stock retreated yesterday as Nasdaq, where tech stocks are listed, lost almost 2% in a day. Dow Jones Industrial also fell by 0.4% yesterday. Investors are still optimistic Congress will pass another relief package to bolster economic recovery. But there is some disagreement on the size of package. Trump administration proposed $916 billion bill after Democrats rejected a previous bill. That quickly became a negative factor to U.S. markets.
Indeed, and with the decline overnight on Wall Street, South Korea's KOSPI started out significantly lower this morning, but then recovered a bit as the afternoon began and then in the end closed lower. But some volatility should be expected with the futures options expiring now. Tell us about the local market today.
Domestic market performance is mixed between KOSPI and KOSDAQ today. KOSPI lost by 0.3%, but KOSDAQ gained by 0.9%. It looks that KOSPI market was much affected by negative returns from U.S. market because there are lots of huge companies related to global economy and U.S. economy. Foreign investors sold in KOSPI market, but KOSPI market rise was led by domestic individual investors, huge purchase.
And now oil prices have risen significantly in recent weeks because of the vaccines and the expectation that there will be renewed economic activity. But at the same time, we see that U.S. oil inventories are up. Gold now has come down quite a bit from its highs. What's your outlook on these commodities?
Oil price slightly decreased by 0.2% yesterday. International oil market is under pressure from lots of positive and negative factors on oil supply and demand. In last week's OPEC Plus meeting, oil-producing countries decided to increase oil production, and U.S. oil reserve size increased due to the resurgence of pandemic. But at the same time, there is a positive factor for oil price, along with development of COVID vaccine. Gold price decreased by 1.9%, which is almost 2% in yesterday's market. Gold is kind of considered as a safe haven in investment. So the price is expected to go down further as vaccines rolled out from many different countries.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that all those predictions of gold going past 2,000 haven't panned out, at least not yet, and looking less likely to do so in the near future. But as for next year in the business environment, there's a survey of South Korean businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, and it finds that not even 1 in 10 thinks that next year, business-wise, will be better than this year. It seems this is because of the pandemic, of course, and also political uncertainty in the U.S. What's your outlook, Professor?
According to a survey of Federation of Small and Medium-Sized Corporations, over 3,000 small companies, business uncertainties are increasing inside and outside of countries. 8 corporations out of 10 that the purpose of next year's business would be maintenance of the status of quo. And almost 1 out of 10 has a plan for expanding their business next year. So this is something very disappointing and gloomy situation for small companies. For supporting these small and medium-sized businesses, another round of emergency relief funds, tax benefits to these small corporations, like more, I would say, forward-looking tax deduction, and more debt rollovers by banks can be considered.
All right, we'll see what kind of measures they come up with. Professor, thanks so much for sharing your insights today with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.